Sai Ram students, welcome to another class of English literature. Today's class is the continuation of our last class, wherein we had begun with a new poem, The Poison Tree, written by William Blake. But before we proceed with the literary devices, let us have a short recap of what we did in our last class. The poet says that it's very easy to forgive your friends, but at the same time, it's very difficult to forgive your enemy. He says that when his enemy hurt him, he did not speak to him. He did not speak about whatever had happened. And because of that, what happened? The anger, the wrath, it kept growing in his heart till the time the relationship was not damaged. We know towards the end, he says that his enemy entered the garden, had an apple, and he was found outstretched under the tree. So what has happened because of that? The relationship has come to an end. Okay. So if you have any problem with your enemy or any person for that matter, you should always speak it out. Don't keep anything to your heart. Okay. What will it do? It's just going to damage your relationship. Clear? So let's proceed with the literary devices. Just a gentle reminder to all of you to keep a book and a pen handy to jot down the important points. So let's begin. Rhyme scheme. So what is rhyme scheme? Basically, rhyme scheme is the pattern of rhymes at the end of each line of a poem or a song. And basically, how do we indicate that? When the words, they sound similar. Okay, the last word of the lines, when they sound similar, we denote alphabets to the line. And if the sound is same, the alphabet is also the same. Clear? So that is what rhyme scheme is. And how do we identify that? The last words of the line, depending on the sound, we denote alphabets to them. So let's see what's the rhyme scheme used in this poem. The poem follows the rhyme scheme of A, B, B. Let us see how. But before that, let us understand what is a rhyming couplet. A rhyming couplet is two lines of the same length that rhyme, okay, and complete one thought. So what's a rhyming couplet? It's two lines of the same length and they rhyme, which means they have a similar rhyming word. Okay, and complete one thought. Let me just explain this to you. Look at the poem over here. The first stanza. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. So, if you see this line and this line, okay, they complete one thought, yes, and this word friend and end, they sound similar, so we will denote A. Okay, moving on to the next line. I was angry with my foe, I told it not, my wrath did grow. So what happened over here? This line and this line, again, two lines are completing one thought. And look at the last word, foe, grow. So we'll denote it B. Clear? Moving on to the next stanza. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. Again, fears, tears. It is A, and I sunned it with my smiles with soft deceitful wiles. That makes it B. Clear? So what is the rhyme scheme of the first two stanza? It is A, B. Clear? Proceeding further. Now I will just concentrate on the last words used in the stanzas. Night bright. It is A. Again, shine and mine. It is B. Stole is A. Pole is again A. C is B. And tree is B. So what's the rhyme scheme of the entire poem? It is A, B. And if you see, it's rhyming couplet. We have A together, B together, used in all the four stanzas. Students, please jot it down. Proceeding further, let us see the figures of speech. Metaphor. The first one is metaphor. In this poem, we have an extended metaphor used. Look at the line, till it bore an apple bright. Here, the apple is the metaphor of the fruit of his grudge. Did an actual apple grow? No, it didn't. So what is this apple? This apple was the fruit of his grudge, his hatred. Okay, that he's talking about the hatred that he had in his heart. So this becomes an extended metaphor. Personification. What's a personification? When we give inanimate objects the human action or the human quality, that is personification. Now pay attention. Waters the wrath with fear. Okay. He is saying that his wrath increased. Why? Because of watering it. But what do we water? We water plants, we water trees and they grow. So can your wrath grow because of watering? No, it's not possible. Okay, and he says that his wrath grew because he watered fear. Okay. So your wrath is an inanimate thing. And he says that it grew because it was watered with fear. Clear, students? The next figures of speech that we will see is a repetition. Now what's a repetition? When a word is repeated in the same line, it is called as repetition. So I told my wrath did end. So if you see the word wrath is repeated, okay, so that figures of speech is repetition. Moving on to the next figures of speech, that is alliteration. When words are repeated, the figures of speech is repetition, and when the sound is repeated, the figure of speech is alliteration. Okay. Now, and I sunned it with smiles. So here the sound of S is repeated. Look at the word smiles. Look at the word sunned. So the sound of S is repeated. The figure of speech is alliteration. Next figures of speech is, next sentence is, till I bore an apple bright. Again, the sound of B over here, it is alliteration. Next is antithesis. Now what is antithesis? When two opposite words are placed in the same line, okay, the figure of speech is antithesis. So what are the two opposite words over here? In the first line, we have the opposite word day and night. And second line, we have night and morning. Okay, so two opposite words, when they are used in the same line, the figure of speech is antithesis. Clear? Moving on to the next figures of speech. Okay, we have symbolism and we have imagery. Now pay attention. These two figures of speech, it's just an additional information for you all. Whatever figures of speech you are taught before, okay, only those are a part this year. Okay, symbolism and imagery, it's just an additional information that we are giving you. So what's symbolism? Symbolism is using symbols to signify ideas and qualities, giving them symbolic meanings different from the literal. Now tree symbolizes wrath. He says that when he watered it with anger, I watered anger with my fear, tear and my smile. My sarcastic smile, the anger grew. So your tree symbolizes wrath, anger. Whereas garden is a symbol of heart, where the hatred is nurtured. So here we are using symbols to denote something else. Imagery. So what's an imagery? Imagery is used to make readers perceive things with their 5 sensory organs. Okay, so when you can create pictures in your mind, okay, when you can create pictures, such figures of speech are called as imagery. Okay, so what has the poet used over here? Let us see. And it grew both day and night. So here the action of growing can be imagined day and night. Till it bore an apple bright. Okay, so when I said this, you could imagine a tree, okay, where an apple is, where you can see an apple. Okay, my foe outstretched beneath the tree. So you can imagine a person lying down under a tree. So when you create images in your mind, okay, such figures of speech is called as imagery. Clear? So that's it for the literary devices. We will quickly just go through the value points used in the poem. Jot them down, students. Make sure that you always jot down the value points of the poem as well as the lesson. What are value points? Basically, they just give you the summary of the poem. In short, what the poem is all about. Okay. So what is the message that we get from this poem? The message is that if we hold anger within ourselves and nurture it. How did the poet nurture it? With his fears, with his tears, with his deceitful wiles, okay, and his sarcastic smiles. If we also do the same, it is poisonous and can harm others, can harm relationships. So sit and discuss, sort it out. Don't keep anything in your heart. In the first verse, the narrator sets the stage for this message by stating that when he is angry with someone, he tells the person and the anger ceases. So when he is angry with his friend, He discusses and the anger ends. But when he does not do the same thing with his foe, what happens is his anger increases and increases to a point where the relationship is spoiled. Okay? Now let us see the RTC, the reference to the context. Two lines that we have is night and morning with my tears, I sunned it with my smile. So what happened night and morning? Night and morning, the poet harbored anger. Okay, his anger just kept on growing. He kept it in his heart. It just kept on multiplying, kept on increasing. And this hatred was for whom? This anger was for whom? It was for his enemy. It was for his foe. So night and morning, the poet harbored anger against his foe. Why were tears shed? Tears were shed because the poet was angry with his foe. Yes, why would he cry? Because his foe had hurt him. Okay, and watered it in fears. He did not discuss. Had he discussed it, okay, everything would have been fine. But he did not tell or he did not discuss this with his foe. So why were the tears shed? The tears were shed because the poet was angry with his foe. And the same tears, he watered them with fears. Okay, he watered his anger with tears and fears. What was it? What is this it over here? Look at these two lines. Night and morning with my tears and I sunned it. What is this it? It is the anger, the wrath that the poet is talking about. Clear? So let us see the answer. What was it? It refers to the anger against the poet's foe. So students, I hope the poem as well as the literary devices as well as the reference to context is clear to all of you. Okay, please note there is no worksheet with this video. Okay, now we'll catch up very soon, and until we meet next, all of you will take care of yourself. Sai Ram and bye-bye.